So, quick message to neurotypical wives out there. If in your neurodiverse relationship, your husband with ASD level 1, if things were going pretty well up until about the time that he reached age 40 or so, somewhere between 40 and 60, then it may not be so much the ASD traits that are causing the bulk of the problems. It could be midlife crisis. Is it ASD traits, or is it midlife crisis, or is it both? So many men on the autism spectrum and neurotypicals go through a phase when they take a hard look at the life they're living. They think they could be happier, and if they need to make a big change, they feel the urge to do it soon because they get a sense that time is running out. So these thoughts can trigger a midlife crisis. Here are some of the symptoms of the man version of a midlife crisis. He'll have little interest in spending time or having sex with his wife. He may display the classic signs of depression, for example, sleeping more or loss of appetite, or an increase in appetite. He may drink too much or abuse drugs. He may be overly nostalgic and constantly reminiscing about his youth or his first love. He may suddenly make a hasty decision about money or his career. He may be thinking about having an affair or already has. He may make a drastic change in his personal appearance, or he may say that life has simply become very boring. So know that as your autistic husband goes through this period of change in his life, you can count on him doing things that will piss you off. But unfortunately, lashing out at your husband during this time may help you feel better for the moment, but it won't change his thinking or his behavior, and will only lead to more conflict in the relationship. I'm sure you have enough conflict the way it is. It would be helpful to muster up a little compassion if you think your husband is going through a midlife crisis. No amount of reasoning with, yelling at, cursing, or crying is going to make any difference if your husband is truly going through this midlife crisis. This thing is just going to have to run its course. In the meantime, you need to find some ways to take care of you. Now, as a side note, as I mentioned earlier, midlife crisis for men usually occurs between the ages of 40 and 60. But the timing of one's midlife crisis has much less to do with their age and more to do with their situation. For example, a 38-year-old person who is faced with great challenges is just as likely to enter a midlife crisis as someone who is 65. Now, a midlife crisis lasts about 3 to 10 years in men and about 2 to 5 years in women. And how will the two of you know when the midlife crisis is winding down? Well, the crisis generally ends when he feels more comfortable with himself and begins to accept and perhaps even welcome what life has in store for the rest of his life.